right, let's look at step number 2. Okay. Now, the first step is the what. The second step is the what. The third step is the what. And then I'm going to continue with the why and the how in multiple series. Okay. Now, what else do you need to do? Okay. The first part of the what is the mindset, developing the mindset of a top salesperson. Part 2 is developing I call it the DNA of a top salesperson. It's your bloodline. It's what's inside of you, not only mentally, but physically, emotionally, all of it, right? I call it the DNA. Or there's some ingredients that you need to develop, and that if you watch and look at top salespeople, you see they have this. I look at top salespeople like musicians. They have a lot of commonalities. They take words, they know how to make it pop, they give it rhythm and tempo, they get people to take action, they get people emotional, excited, whether they're crying or they're laughing or they're having a good time. They have the same commonalities, right? I call that the DNA. Those are ingredients. You take words, you say them with a tonality, you get people engaged, right? It's exciting if you do it for the right purposes or the right reasons. Can it be used for the wrong reason? Absolutely. It happens all the time, unfortunately, right? Now, number 1 is, I call it the 3 E's personally. Okay, some people think it's corny, and I don't really care what other people think. It works for me, it works for the people I train, and it works in general in anything that you do. And I want you to challenge me and comment below if you agree or disagree with me. I'm okay with that. I just know what works. I share it with you, and you take it or leave it. Or you take what you want to use and you leave the rest. Does that make sense? All right, now, I call it the 3 E's. The number 1 thing about being a professional salesperson, a dynamic salesperson, you have to know how to tell stories. That's what selling is. It's the art of storytelling. Those who tell the most effective and powerful and engaging story is going to produce more sales. It's that simple. Well, what is one of the ingredients you need? You need to be excited. Guess what, guys? Excitement sells. When you go dancing or you listen to music, aren't you excited? Isn't that an emotion? Well, how did you get excited? By how the person spoke the lyrics or sang the lyrics, right? So excitement sells. Whether you like it, agree with it or not, that's on you. But it works if you're willing to work it. So if you're not excited about what you do, how are you going to get other people excited about what you do? It's impossible. The second E, you have to be enthusiastic. These are all emotions. This is what makes us tick. 95% of purchases are done by emotion. How does the emotion start? Excitement. Gotta be enthusiastic. You gotta have enthusiasm. You ever been around people that are just excited about what they do? That you want to be around them and they're enthusiastic about what they do? And about their life? About their family? Whatever it may be. Right? Now, number 3 is what a lot of people don't understand. The third is energy. Energy is important because energy is transferred. When I speak on the phone, all I have is my voice. I have to convey excitement, conviction. They have to feel my enthusiasm about what I'm doing for them. They have to feel my energy, my vibe, my positive mindset, my positive attitude. Also, it takes a lot of energy to be a top salesperson because there's a lot of emotions involved. A lot of disappointments at times, especially in the beginning, right? Let's say you make 50 phone calls in one day and 40 of them are voice messages. and the other 10 people hang up on you. That's discouraging. Could be, right? You have to get the energy, continue to make phone calls and stay positive, stay strong, have energy and be excited, right? So when that one prospect is on the phone, you're ready for them, right? So it takes excitement, enthusiasm, and energy to be a top salesperson. It just does, period. End of story. Number 2, I like to call it the 3 V's. You have to understand this. You have to know what your value is. So there's 3 types of values in my view. You have a perceived value, which is the initial value you see in others or that the prospect may see in you, right? You have a perceived value. Give an example. When I make a cold call and I'm speaking to a prospect that doesn't know who I am, but I'm targeting them, I have 3 to 5 seconds to show my value right away, a perceived value. I have to be able to earn that trust right away. I have to be able to earn respect right away. That's not easy. That's a skill, right? So we always have a perceived value when we first speak with anyone, meet anyone, text anyone. The initial contact on anything we do with a person and a stranger, we always have a perceived value. They always give off a perception, right? So you got to understand what your perceived value is from the very beginning. Now, number 2 is, as you're developing a relationship through the selling process, speaking with the prospect, hopefully you show enough value that it increases your value. There's certain things you must learn to do to increase your value at that moment in time. I call it peeling the onion, right? You may get a good perception of somebody. Once you get to know them and spend time, you say, man, this person is not who they perceived they were, right? The opposite can happen too. You may have a first bad impression of somebody because they might have had a bad day or whatever. As you got to know them, you say, man, this person is really nice. I think they were like that because of what I first saw, right? So perception is a reality for those who understand what perception is or what perceived value is. Intrinsic value is a development through the selling process in building the relationship with the prospect. Okay, now what's the real value? The real value is you've earned the right as a salesperson, as a closer, you've earned the relationship. Now you have a win-win. And if you produce the results for your prospect, which is now a client, then your value just accelerates. It's a real value. They pay for your services, you produce the result, and they're happy and they continue to buy from you, right? It's that simple. So those are the 3 V's. Those are ingredients that you need to understand and develop. Because if you don't have value, you don't have nothing, right? Number 3 is another ingredient that I believe a lot of salespeople, especially real estate agents that I deal with, don't really take serious. And that is rebuttals. You have to master the art of rebuttals. Why are rebuttals important? Because you don't realize how powerful tool rebuttal is and what it could do for your bank account. What a rebuttal does, if you master rebuttals, 3 things happen simultaneously. Number 1 is you're diffusing their objection. And when you diffuse an objection with a legitimate, powerful rebuttal without deceit or misrepresentation, right? You diffuse it, and as soon as you diffuse it, your value goes up without you realizing. Why? Because the prospect respects the fact that you were able to counterpart their objection, which might not have been a real objection. It might have been a way to get you off the phone. They just didn't know how to do it or they didn't want to do it. So the third thing that mastering rebuttals do for you as a salesperson or as a master closer is it transitions you into storytelling. And like I said, storytelling is the key. But you need everything else around it to tell that story. And those who tell and sing the better song is going to sell more records to their audience, right? Same thing with actors. They make you feel a certain way, whether it's anger or hate, love, sad, cry, happy, right? Is their actions, whether it's facial, physical, verbally. That's what it is. Does that make sense? So storytelling, okay? Now, number 4 is powerful storytelling. Let me ask you this question. Why do you post on social media? Why do we post on social media? Just keep it simple. We want attention, right? We want to attract more potential customers to us, right? Is that selling? That's a cop-out. It's a necessary thing. But whoever could engage people more powerful with, let's say you're not an influencer, right? Like me, I'm not an influencer yet. I'm an influencer to those that hire me to train them and teach them and show them and produce sales on them. That's what matters to me. But in the big scheme of things, right? Until you are an influencer, you gotta earn that right. Your product, your video, your content has to engage people, right? It has to tell a quick story. They call it the hook, right? So if you understand the art of storytelling and you know how to tell powerful story, like a musician, a top salesperson, an entertainer, an athlete, we all live by stories. It starts with a story and it ends with a story. Sometimes it starts with a good story, ends with a bad story. Sometimes it starts with a bad story, it ends with a phenomenal story. And everything in between. Everything is a story. Accept it, embrace it, love it, be good at it, and watch your value grow or value increase. Watch your sales grow. Watch your bank account grow. All because you know how to tell powerful stories. Does that make sense?